Well, it's on the camera. Let me see if I can do something else here.
Same assistant.
Oh, Caitlin says she can hear us now.
Yay, okay.
All right. All right, well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight.
Oh, are you curious?
Nice to be back. Yeah, somebody pointed back where they were like, how dare you say welcome back. What work setting, they're like, I don't want to do that. Also, fun. Our agenda tonight, we'll do a round of introductions. Really nice to hear. The faces and names, a reminder of the classrooms, everybody is need to approve October, November, and December minutes. I thought it was just November and December, but we'll do approve the minutes here. Principal update, staff updates, do committee updates. We want to talk about some of the volunteer needs we have for the second semester. Quick update on also camp fair, what's coming up. We have Read Across America, STEAM, Mayfair 5th grade. That's some of the things to touch on. A couple things on new business around MLK Day service, and some expenses for the crochet club and ski club. Does anybody have anything else to say? Wanted to add? And then during new business, we can add stuff as well. So just for those, thank you everyone on Zoom as well. So I'm Mike Stefanski, I'm one of the co-chairs. This year, Hank is in 4th grade and I in the suspenders class, and I is in 2nd grade in the phosphorus class.
Julie Abrams, another co-chair, and I have Nicholas in 5th grade and Peterson's class, and Olivia in 3rd grade, and this is Jubila's class.
I'm Jessica Summer-Lloyd. I'm the secretary. I have a 3rd grader in Ms. Jones' class, a 6th grader in Mrs. Jones's class, and also have a 8th grader. My name is Leah, and I have a 3rd grader in Mrs. Nicola, and a 2nd grader in Mrs. Ed, and Mrs. B, and a kindergartner. Michelle Doolin, I have a 5th grader in Tigers class, and a 3rd grader. Kelly Connery, I have Stella in 4th grade. I married the Halloween but I have 3 daughters that all went to NPE. I'm Vanessa DeSalle. I have 1 daughter, who is in you, Mrs. You very much. It's a lot. Graders in Prosperous and Gray and like how the product I've never done
Son, Zoom, if you want to jump off, just introduce yourself. We see your name, so if you don't want to, that's also fine too.
considering that nobody has their cameras on, I don't want to pressure them.
Exactly. If you want to. All right. So I think we need a motion when we approve everything together.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the October minutes.
Second.
All
All those in favor? Any opposed? You have to raise your hand if you're opposing on. So, all right, that passes.
Caitlin says it's hard to hear, so if we can speak up.
Okay. All right, accept the motion to approve November minutes. Okay, good. All right, all those in favor? Any opposed? All right, and then lastly, accept the motion to approve December minutes.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? All right, all the minutes are approved.
I'm gonna think that's in favor. Let's go with it. We're gonna go with that. All right, cool.
Then, Principal Heinley, we're up.
everybody. I hope everyone had a restful and relaxing break, and hope everyone had time. Spend time with your families and the kids. It seemed like a long one for me. I think that's the first time I was not in on a break, so it was really hard to come back. I'm not gonna lie. I love being here, love the kids, but that Sunday I was like, wow, okay, I'm sorry, Monday, and then Tuesday was a long day for everybody. Kids were tired, staff was tired, we could feel it, but it's great to be back. Great to be back. It's great to see everybody. My update for tonight, a couple things. I'm not going to go too far into detail because I put it out. I had the winter update kind of newsletter type and a couple e-blasts, but I'll just put a little final plug in. We have our strategic planning going on at the district level, and there are a series of community meetings. The first of which was held Tuesday night, I believe it was, where stakeholders came together, administration, outside research group, to look over the data from the audits from last year. And we're looking at finance, equity inclusion, and now we're getting into categories, equity inclusion, sorry, finance, and basically curriculum instruction and innovation. I'm sure I'm forgetting a word or two here, but all these different umbrellas. And a strategic plan is not exactly like a how-to. Part of the plan is basically what's our vision, what are our goals for about the next 10 years, and that when all the work about curriculum, equity, etc., when we do this work at the district level, how does it fit in to our strategic plan? Strategic plan will guide a lot of decisions in the years ahead. It's something very common to school districts. We have to do a comprehensive plan for the state as well. So this is kind of like in addition to a comprehensive plan. So the strategic planning, we're getting feedback and input from all the stakeholders. So there's the plug. If anyone is interested, the dates of those remaining meetings, still in my last will be. There is a Saturday morning one I know in March. I believe there's one tomorrow in the morning, and I'm escaping me the other day, but it's in the e-blast in February, so I'll keep pushing them out. But it is very important work that the district has undertaken. Also, I've been putting out the MLK. Well, first the MLK Day of Service, which is on Monday, January 16th, which obviously there are no school for students. But I want to first say thank you to PTO. The 3 PTOs got together with the superintendent's office and came up with kind of plans for that day for projects over at the middle school. As per my e-blast, we have taken donations, and thank you to everyone who's gotten a big response. We're putting together blessing bags for needy families on Monday. So the scheduled events for that, a little more detail than I put out. The 8:30 to 9 o'clock is registration, kind of grab and go breakfast. 9 to 10:30, we have opening remarks. Leanne Kruger, our local representative, is one of the speakers. In the auditorium from 9 to 10:30, different performances. The NPE portion of the performance will be our homegrown poem. And the theme of this was basically, in a nutshell, kind of like the world that we picture that we want to live in. And I think we had over 200. Did I hear that right? Yeah. And we did this in about 7 school days. It might even be 4. It might be 4.
Yeah.
So credit Mrs. Wagner and the staff. We said we really want to highlight this poem. So we have a assembly, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But at the MLK celebration, we're not going to have all the kids there to read it, unfortunately. So we're going to have a PowerPoint with artwork that students have done. And hopefully, while the technology works, we're going to videotape it like I did for the board presentation last year. And we're going to show it at the MLK celebration. We also have 5th grade students, some 5th grade students who have done a wax museum in previous years of important people in history who will be in the hallway, putting on presentations for people that attend. All 3 schools, I think, have students that are participating in that. Also have, I'm not up on all the performances, but I know SRS, I believe, has a MLK skit. And there's also all the schools will have a couple student representatives to read the speech, Martin Luther King's speech, which will be really powerful.
Can I interrupt you for a
Absolutely.
second? Because, one of the, teachers on the curriculum that I was asking for volunteers. The students are going to give the speech, so we have, I think, one or two from NPE. If there's any student might feel comfortable on the stage and would like to volunteer to do that. on
For the
stage.
homegrown, I think, or not.
I thought it was just the,
Okay.
speech that started.
Okay, it might be.
That's what I was.
Yeah. Okay.
So it would just be reading aloud part of, I think it's Martin Luther King's speech. So, what grade? I think the preference was for an older
Yes,
student.
4 or 5.
or the fifth grade.
My third grade.
You know what, I'm not gonna exclude, I don't wanna be excluded. I'm sure I have third grade, I probably first graders, actually, it's not that far.
Who, did they contact? Would they contact?
You know what, if you know right now, if you can tell me, otherwise maybe just to Al, and then Al, and then to Erica.
Yep. Yeah, let me know. So that's from 10:30 to 11, I'm sorry, it's the living wax we're doing. 10:30 to noon are the service projects, all the service projects. For example, our creating the bags, potentially making cards if time goes a little bit quicker. Everything is in the middle school gymnasium. To have all the schools next to each other. And at 12 o'clock, cake will be served from 12 to 12:30 for everyone in attendance. So my cultural proficiency equity team leaders, mouthful, have been very instrumental in putting this together alongside the PTO and the district administration. After working on all this, we came back to NPE about mid-December and said, back in the day, we used to have more for this day. And we said, you know what, it's not a last minute, but we're gonna pull this together. So we emailed the staff and said, we're gonna put together an MLK celebration on Friday, it is the 13th, they did it, Friday the 13th. So, we're gonna have the homegrown poem, which is gonna be read, I believe, by fourth graders. And that would be hopefully videotape for the practice that we use for Monday. We also have younger grades that we sing a song, also a reading of a speech and I believe poem as well. And we had a meeting at the district level earlier this week to go over these plans. I'm sorry, last Thursday, a week ago. 8th grade teacher who was putting together their service project this Friday said, NPE students, and just directed at NPE, that was that, said NPE students have approached us and they want to come back on Friday the 13th. Now, I wasn't going to answer because the logistics, right? I'm thinking logistics. And the team was like, bring them. So, on top of our MLK celebration, we have about 55 8th graders coming over with teachers and parents after the assembly to go back to all the classrooms and work on a mural or parts of a mural. And there might be other activities to give them a bit of freedom, but or diversity. Murals that we're going to hang up all throughout February through the Black History Month. And the students are going to create these murals and the other projects with the 8th graders. It'll be a little bit staggered. In other words, K1, they have 6 8th graders, 4th and 5th, they have a little bit. We're still kind of fine tuning the schedule, but the 8th graders are going to be here from about 10, 12:30. They're going to have lunch in our gym, but they're going to be helping out all of our students in the school. And the 8th grade teachers were just absolutely bro, like we made their day, if not their. So, but the students are looking forward to coming back. Many, I don't know the percentage of how many are NPE. It's a large group of NPE alumni coming back. I think it's like 80 to 90%. Yeah, it's 55. I heard it's around 40, but maybe it's more.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that. It's going to be anytime you do something for the first time. I know my team, we're nervous about Monday, but it's like I can't even think about Monday because Friday is going to be very chaotic. The first time you do something, but that's why I love being here. It's more of a how can we make this work as opposed to, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? So we're really thrilled to have the 8th graders come on Friday. No, as I said, there's no school obviously next Monday. Tuesday, there's no school. That is a teacher in service. Part of the in-service day is the cultural proficiency training that has been ongoing all year with staff in the morning. The afternoon piece, I'm mentioning this because there'll be a follow-up with the community. The report I have tonight is very high level, so I don't necessarily have specifics, but I want to push out the spirit of what this PD is tonight. We are doing at each building, we are presenting our safety plan. We're just going through our safety plans, talking about lockdown drills, things of that nature. But we're also planning district-wide. Some of it is national news, some of it's, learning from local incidents, the high school. So part of this is, okay, let's reflect on some of our practices. I will be leading the PD with my staff alongside Jim Conley and another administrator, the supervisor, Leslie Shaw. Jim Conley, assistant superintendent. And Leslie is supervisor of counseling, one of them. So I mentioned that because we won't just be reviewing our plans. And we have things in place that are also unique to our building. So we make sure that we're up to date with things that we do. And I think I highlighted those in the e-blast in the spring, little things like our ID cards, which I'm not wearing at the moment. On the back, all the teachers have their rosters. Because God forbid if they're outside or somewhere else, and you can't get your emergency folder, we don't have last names, but we have first names. So if I'm a classroom teacher and I have to evacuate, I can do attendance without, oh my goodness, in a heightened state. So we have that. We have stickers on our phones where anyone can make an announcement. Because if you think of a school, you only have one PA system. So if that area was compromised, we have systems in place. And I hate talking about this, but I feel it's important to share. So at the PD, we're going to review all these procedures. And then the second part, the social emotional component, and I think this is really important for elementary. The Office of Student Services has put together kind of mini lessons that are age appropriate so that when we do the next lockdown, there will be more of a discussion about lockdowns, or I would go too far. So I haven't seen the lesson, but basically, why do we do things? Like, why do we practice safety? And we're also going to focus on it's okay to feel anxious. So we're actually intentionally going to engage our kids with it's okay to feel anxious and give them the space at a very developmentally appropriate level. Please, K will not look like 5. So I haven't seen those lessons, but we are going to do some debriefing with our kids. I'm sharing that because that will be coming out district-wide. If I'm not mistaken, Dr. Marseille, I think he even alluded to it potentially in his last update, but there'll be like a lockdown on, I'm not sure the date, in January at all schools, maybe not the same exact time, but we're all going to have that, then have debrief in the classroom. So all of this information will be coming out to all the community. Obviously, we haven't had the PD with staff, so we're not really at that point. But I did want to share it tonight. So it will be this month, for sure. Like February.
And will that information come from the parents so we know?
Yes, that's,
What to,
yes.
honestly, sometimes I go a little too far high level, so I think it would be good to get an age appropriate, how I actually. That is
So,
in line with it.
yes, now, I'm not sure if we'll necessarily be a differentiated message, right? But if you reach out to me, I can
I
give
think
you
she
a
doesn't brought, a worksheet that we can
Yeah.
talk about, so I'm saying the same thing for teachers are.
Yeah.
That's basically.
I'm gonna pass that along, only because I'm not creating the
Yeah,
message,
I
but
understand.
yes,
So I was just
the intent is to engage the
I want to make
community.
sure, she doesn't.
Yeah.
We bring home exactly. what she- Saying.
You
what
don't
I
say.
Yeah, so, so when I was a teacher, every back to school night, I taught fourth and fifth grade, I would tell the parents, I said, please believe about 50 to 60% of what the kids say, and not about me, in the room. And I will do the same of what they say about you, like coming into school. Unless it's all good and then we're fine. But I point well taken. So there will be more information on all this. And really my point tonight is just to say, hey, we're looking at safety, we're having conversations, and we're looking at how we can engage our students in the conversation. So more information certainly to follow. to the parents, to the staff in the coming days. But our PD is, part of it is focused on safety on Monday. Report cards are issued later this month, January 27th. I'll have information on that from the parents of how we do that. It's basically an email or a PDF that comes from me. If anyone needs a paper copy, just reach out to your child's teacher or the main office. We'll make sure that happens. Very excited to announce we'll have our winter concert once again on the 26th. That will be our instrumental orchestra, chorus and band. Sorry, instrumental chorus and band, on the 26th. And I believe that starts at 7 p.m. And my report is done. Do you have any questions?
For Monday, I know that the district was trying to get a certain amount of volunteers to make kits and things like that, to do the volunteer part, but we never got like a clear answer on exactly how many or what we should be asking for. So if you have any ideas on?
The short answer is I don't, because the roles that we debriefed on were the students and the administration and the teachers. But I can email someone who can give you the answer I can forward.
I'm just curious, what the turnout's gonna be. in terms
Agreed.
of-
Yeah, having the Tuesday in service, obviously with a longer weekend, we
Sometimes they didn't want to RSVP, but I asked that and they're like, no, so I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, 50 people can show up or 300?
Yeah.
And you could order cake and then I'm just thinking logistics.
It was
and then like
discussed.
just planning one, but I asked and they said no RSVP.
It was discussed. I was there in the moment, and one of the things, and unfortunately, I'm not at all of the discussion meetings, so I'm not sure what the rationale was. I know when I did it at Glenwood, granted, much smaller population, but I believe we did it, and that was well before any kind of Google form or anything like that.
Yeah, I was just shocked by it,
So-
just for planning purposes.
Yeah, and I think a lot of lessons are gonna be learned, the first time doing it, people are gonna learn a lot on Monday.
I'm thinking like, should I show up at 8:30 or 8:45? It's gonna be a long line. Like, I'm just trying to figure out logistics. Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
No pressure, and you don't have to if you don't feel comfortable, but like just curiosity, is anyone in this room planning on being there? Just so I can get like a, curious out of the room.
You can see the spot if anybody's in line.
Be there early then. Okay, that was the first question. The
Yeah, sure.
second question, I'll reach back out to her. I know she's studying communication. The other one was we touched a little bit on, so the other two, each school kind of has their own project. So we have our project, but collectively, we're all also supporting the project that SRF was doing. Be it if we're volunteering, we might help them assemble their pack of kits. Well, we decided as a school that having, 2 to 4 different collection bins, collecting similar items, but for 2 different things in a short amount of time would be very confusing, and is that the best use of, resources? So another thing I know we spoke about was maybe even making like a monetary donation to Nick's place, which is the one that they're using. So that might be something that we want to look at.
Is that something we want to like vote on in this meeting?
I mean, I feel like if it's something that we're going to talk about, it's sort of up to me now because it's
Yeah.
Monday.
And just to clarify, so the donations that the SRS project would be asking for are extremely similar to the same ones I just pushed out for them. And the PTOs, were working together, and came up with a great idea. It's just two things are moving at the same, same time. And we're just talking about, you didn't want to confuse the community. If it was not over a break, I think, we could potentially do something else, but we kind of put out the word 4 days before break, 5 days before break, and we had 2. So putting out a donation plus having first graders, second graders coming in to drop off, and one's SRS, or I'm sorry, you should mix, it's really SRS, and one for NPE. We just talked about how can we, since we may not be able to contribute in that fashion, what can our NPE PTO do if we can't contribute the exact same way? That's the rationale.
Now, would we give money to the SRS PTO or at HSA, or we give money directly to next day?
I would say next.
Or, because I think they're doing it because of.
Well, it's a local organization,
But I think it's because they were not this.
Yeah, and that's why all three.
well, they want to be very careful not to. Oh, really, what they express, because it's like a private school package. Is what we talked about. So it's, but you're, I mean, we're not wrong, but it's a local organization, yes. They had a student, ask who benefited from this organization. So it was near and dear to them, but it was also, but yeah, they, we wouldn't respect that privacy, but it's something that good. But as Ms. Behind said, it was just simultaneously the amount of time, the nature of it.
And what is West doing?
The donations, I'm sorry.
So Wes is doing, so Ms. Gard, is a teacher at West. And she does, a project every single year, I believe for Pakistan, where she collects, gloves, mittens, hats, things of that nature. That's been her service project, but they're still doing that this year. In addition, they're supporting Nick's Place by accepting donations, but they're doing that because, again, we spoke about this on a side note, and then came back together. They're doing that because that's their only collection.
Okay.
We're in that.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we had to, if we should think about giving money to what Wes is doing as well, if we're giving.
No,
money
it's the
to-
same thing.
Okay.
I just feel like since we're not collecting the donations, it's still a nice way for us to come in and.
So essentially, we have two schools contributing, one not, if we did not find a way to.
So we guys do a donation like later in the year for that? When is anybody giving us donations?
No, so I didn't want to take up too much time with this, but to get really specific, there were two different meetings that happened. One with the principals and their teams, and one with just the PTOs. And unfortunately, these two groups of people were not together, and Dr. Marseille had to be pulled out for the incident in the high school. So to be perfectly transparent, there's just a little bit of miscommunication. And so when the PTOs came together, we said, well, we'll just all do the next project. We'll keep it easy. Unbeknownst to us, NPE had worked really hard with their teachers on coming up with something that was special for just NPE to do. So because we committed as a PTO to supporting this one service project, but if we're gonna unite it as a district, we figured out what we want. But at the same time, respecting what our own home school has decided to do, we have an option.
What's, are you saying like $200 or $1,000?
Wes is doing the donations because they're not collecting.
But
They're collecting the actual items for the kids. But
The
because
same
we're
Type of
collecting
items that we're collecting.
items for
the project
already.
we chose.
as a parent, if we send you communication saying,
Yeah.
send it,
But how much do they want for the donation?
they're not asking
They're
for
not asking.
anything. We just came up with, if we can't contribute like we initially set out to in the form of donation, how else can we still honor
Yeah.
that word and help contribute to them? So if we were gonna contribute monetarily, it would just be for them to purchase items for the their kids. If we don't, we could also say, we'll contribute 10 parent volunteers to help build the kits the day of, but I can't say unless everyone in this room says, yes, I'll be one of those people, like, I can't say that I'll be able to deliver them those volunteers. So, and then at the same time, I mean, you're also gonna say, we're not doing it, but I just feel like,
No, I got you. I feel like it would be, since you worked with the schools originally and in a spirit of cooperation, doesn't have to be much, but just a token to say, we're in this with you.
Like $200. I'm not saying $1,000.
I think that would be, yeah, I mean, if they're collecting peanut butter or lotion and Band-Aids and, things
Yeah.
like this, I think that's.
What do we want to, but that goes back to like, if we're supporting,
I think this together with it. It kind of makes me a little. Why are you making a big deal about it? I didn't say, why don't we just?
Can we find something to add?
But I would look at from a stance of, are we supporting other schools? Because again, West is also supporting them.
They agree,
We agree
PTOs.
as three PTOs.
So I think if you don't do anything, it looks bad.
I agree.
And I
it looks
think
like
it's
we just
like,
left
I
it
just don't know,
alone.
I'm just about $200, so I'm thinking like, I
Mike
don't
just brought
care.
up a good point. What if we took an amount of money and the PTO bought some of these products for the kids?
There you go.
Nothing wrong. We we're not giving the money, but we're still, it's the
Well, sure, take the, this from process, this, question.
does that feel good? Like,
You can go higher, I mean, we need someone for the turkey trot, there, no, I'm kidding.
and it's not another ask of our family.
Yeah, I think I just threw out $200 for that.
That's not good.
Want to put a pin in it for new business?
Okay.
So we'll vote to ponder that while we think, and we'll vote on actually using 200.
Everybody's feedback, because it's
Yeah.
like, that's what this is for.
But we could probably purchase about like the now CVS travel size stuff. And
Maybe
have it,
wrapped up at the dollar store.
yeah, have it, right, good, okay.
Great, thank you.
Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Gonna make introductions for it.
Oh, that's right. So no. So I'm extremely pleased and proud to present Mrs. Mary Kahanowitz, who is a veteran, as Pat Bender was, of our PTOs. Pat and Mary did it together for at least my time there, 7 years, we've done every PTO meeting before we started switching it up. But Mary is a reading specialist, and what I like the most about Mary, the enthusiasm that she brings to the PTO, multiply that by 10 is the enthusiasm that she brings to our children. They absolutely adore her, trust her, respect her, and very similar to what I said about Pat. Mary is always looking at what we can do more to help kids, and is a problem solver, and just genuinely loves her job and the children. And I absolutely am thankful for her. The work that all the reading specialists do, it's not just teaching children, it's collecting data on 510 students, putting it together, talking to teachers, problem solving, working, having to put up with me in meetings. So I'm just thrilled to have Mary here, and I'm blessed to have her as a colleague. So, welcome, Mary.
Oh, no. First thing I wanted to do is, for the staff, is thank, the PTO for how grateful we are for the breakfast that was supplied. I was at last Friday. Oh, the food was delicious. I mean, the setup was gorgeous. I mean, people were waving, and it really, you know, like, the rescue bags in the swing of things, but it got everyone to see everyone and enjoy breakfast together. So thank you so much. We're very grateful. I kind of took this role on the last minute, and I did throw out, you know, if anyone wants to share anything, huge response. So I decided to ask some of the students. I teach play group dance, and I wanted to ask them, what are some things you're doing in class right now? So I kind of got, this is what you're hearing. Take with a grain of salt. Kindergarten, I did not. I did hear a kindergarten student say, now we know all our letters. You know, almost as if like we're done. Grade, students are working on addition and subtraction. In reading, they're reading fiction and non-fiction. They usually break words apart. And that's one of our Hegarty programs. And the one student said, you mean Hegarty? So I mean, just for me to listen to it. For writing, I was still there writing. in your story. And this particular student said, I need a lot of paper to make notes because I write a lot. Another experienced student told me they were learning a song for the MLK celebration. And she thinks that first grade should be in the front because they're the best. Anyway, now today I only have one student in my small group because the rest of my second grade students were working with Mr. Mendel. So right now, Mr. Mendel takes groups of classes, second grade classes during PE time. And he works on STEM projects with them where they create bridges and ball runs or mazes with needle planks. Every time the students are like, oh, and they work cooperatively to build these structures, and so they have a great time. So the one student that I did have, give me the information. He just said, well, we're reading stories and gathering information about Martin Luther King. In third grade, in math, third grade, and this is their wording. Third grade students are working on bar model representations for multiplication and division. During the reading shop log, they are reading nonfiction. And they have a notebook where they must state 3 things that they learned about their reading. They are finishing up personal narratives in writing, and in science, they're learning about crops and minerals. And for a Martin Luther King Day, one student told me they're bringing in accessories. For those in need. In fourth grade, in science, some students are studying electricity and circuit connections. During this block, other classes are studying Pennsylvania and how Oregon became a landowner. In language arts, students are also reading nonfiction texts and determining main ideas and discussing how the topic of a passage may be different from the main idea. In math, students are working on fractions, particularly adding fractions with uncommon denominators. Fourth grade students created illustrations for the slideshow that will be presented at our King Assembly Friday and on the day of service. And they are, it's really good. So poem. Fifth grade. So fifth graders. I got limited information. Fifth graders are working with decimals and during their reading workshop time, they are also reading nonfiction and jotting in their mini lesson notebooks. In writing, they're writing about nonfiction articles, and after my fifth grade left, I happened to walk in the hallway and 2 students were working together editing their article, and it was really great to see both. So it was exciting to see that, and I was really impressed how they worked well together. All of the fifth grade students are practicing for the choral concert. So I'm not excited about that, which will take place on January 26th. And some of the teachers are reading and discussing some of the events in history that led up to Martin Luther King's passion for equality. And then, as I mentioned before, it's the volunteers for the MLK. It's essential. If you won't know what the fit. Right, and maybe we should. One more thing on NPE Friday. Students are all asked to wear their NPE t-shirts on Friday. Yeah. So.
48 hours.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right, so next on the agenda is for committee reports and
We have volunteer needs
Oh, yeah.
for second semester. Some of those include STEM, Unite. Sorry. Unite. We do have a chair still, but we're looking for a co-chair. This information is about our volunteer coordinators. She's also trying to pull some resources that if any of you on Zoom, in person, are interested in co-sharing team night, please let us know. Additionally, in like the first day, right? We are looking for people who may want to be on the teacher appreciation committee for Teacher Appreciation Week. Sarah and I have done it for the past years. It's a lot of fun. We brainstorm, we pick a day, each week, you know, to do like a fun theme. So that's another need. And then I think you're.
Yeah, I'll pivot into Delco, just as
Yeah.
the full, the Delco Camp Fair is February 4th, 12 to 3. For those who haven't been there before, we invite camps. It's a fundraiser for us, so we invite camps and summer organizations. They're paying $100 for the table, so that's the fundraising part. But it's a great community event. You can like just go into the gym and kind of like see all these different organizations, or like just considering your summer fair plans. Also, a lot of times the camps will have like some end activities, so you feel free to bring your children with you. I think it's like kind of like just a fun activity there. What we would probably need a handful of volunteers, so if you're interested, let us know. We'll put a sign of genius out, just kind of for like welcoming, guiding some of the traffic, set up, clean up, like low touch, and then debating whether or not we would do a snack concession for any sort of to help generate some additional funds as well as like soft pretzels and stuff. So please, if you're in town and like to stop by like half an hour-ish or so, I feel like you could do the work tables. Right now, I think we're up to 21 organizations, aiming for 40, so I feel like we're halfway there. I'm gonna do some extra follow-up. But this is our first year being back in person. I think we did it 2 years virtually. When we got about 20 camps each time virtually. So I feel like we've at least doubled our revenue because it was half the price what it was virtual for the vendors. So we doubled our revenue, hoping to grow a little bit more there. But if anybody's interested in participating, I would love it. So if that's we'll get a side of genius out. I still need to provide that, but looking for a couple responses. We're not doing it online in so much the same way that we did last time. So I want to encourage people to join, but we are posting to like everybody attending. So you have to do like a little bit of your own research in that, but we'll kind of show that as a attendance. There's one campus that they can't come. I said, well, let's do that price. Give us stuff, we'll put you on the website. So that's gonna be the next push here. So.
If you need more camps, they post it on the Facebook page, saying if anybody goes to camps that they like, they can let you know. There's something, or like, or if you just put that. An ad and post it.
I guess you just aren't liking.
Bill is gonna.
Yeah.
The algorithm. Yeah.
So we thought about as a value add, getting the camps an opportunity to like look at the data because. Because then they can like speak directly. Then it's because I was like, oh, we could go around and like record videos. No, make them do it for us.
We can. I don't know if it's necessary though, in a way.
But like the people that can't.
Right. Yeah. Last year, what we did last 2 years as a virtual option, we allowed them to open up the Zoom room so people who like couldn't make it could go into that Zoom room. And the feedback that I like overwhelmingly got was like donating them Zoom rooms. So I think it's possible. I think like
Yeah.
I don't have a volunteer for it though.
No, I mean, if they send a YouTube link to a video, I can post it on the website in 20 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And it would be added value for them.
Yeah. All right. I can
But then they also create it, so it's not much.
share that. Yeah.
I'm speaking for you. Here's the expert for Jeff, but-
I would say, I think it's gonna be my first priority is to try to get more clubs to do. Is where I might, that is where it's going with that, what's that, gonna follow up, so. But yeah, we can do that, no problem. Yes, we can do it.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions? All right, so then we just also wanted to kind of just like, the things that are upcoming, I think our first event is Read Across America Night. You want to share? I put it on the top of the want to share. group?
Yeah, for the USFR, I have about 14 leaders signed up. We have over 10 leaders. Good. Thank you for that. It's been a few years. Working on getting right now book collection is big. So we have books to donate. There's been a lobby. There's been a house for 6 books now. We're working on getting flyers out. The nation and eventually we need volunteers. It's a little bit far out. When is it? March 2nd. March 2nd. I can make any flyer.
Kelly Smith did it last year.
Everybody,
Kelly Smith did it last year and she just put it on the swap and then she had bins in front of her house. And then people just put it in the bin in her house.
I can put that on something.
Yeah.
I have it.
yeah,
Ready to
if
go.
you're open to it, I feel like you can put it on.
Yeah, you know, I've been trying to. It's a good choice. Easier if I'm trying to.
Have other people do the work.
I can talk to Woody about pulling aside children's books.
In
Yes, and a good readable.
any other questions? And for those that haven't been, so, the Charlie, Read Across America is like one of like the best events. It's one of my favorite. There's readers and all the different classrooms, things that people can do.
Yeah, there was, Nebraska, we get speak up or other times.
So, yes. So for those that are coming to the event, just, or it's the first time for the event, just like it's a great event. So that's 7 times in that sentence. We'll have the readers in the classroom. You come do 2 sessions, you pick out a book, and just there's so much joy in the schools. So really encourage you to like make it if you can. So I think it's like one of like, in my opinion, it's one of my like favorite events. Look forward to it. Steam night.
First day of March.
For steam night, we'll look for probably do a call for volunteers and participants on this as well. Similar to we last year in person, so you maybe saw it. Kind of a variety of different STEAM activities in the gym and in the hallway, and it's on March 23rd will be the date for that. And then Mayfair is one of the events that we're looking for a volunteer for, I think, and it's going to be
26th of May,
May of 26th, it's the Friday
with a rain date of June 2nd.
in school. And so the volunteer support that we really need here is somebody that's going to help coordinate this kind of the bounce houses. And
Why don't you talk about what there is?
yeah, so this is. Sorry, what was the question?
Is this like returning, like, has this been helpful?
No, this hasn't been held since thank you. So this hasn't been held since COVID. I think it's maybe even a little bit of an adjustment to from like year before COVID as well. But it's a transition from doing an event for the students for the school day. There were some efforts to make it a community event. It's just the amount of like time and efforts it took to do the spring festival felt like we could bring the best back with the students. So have a couple blow ups for them and have a session. This is different from field day because there'll probably be a call for volunteers from Mr. B to help support field day. And we would need volunteers for this event day up as well, but kind of giving the students a rotation. Field day is more a series of stations that the students go through and have what's the word I'm looking for? Well, yeah. Exactly, a competition of sorts, a friendly competition where everybody wins, where they're all trying to get a certain number of points for the school.
Day of fun.
Yeah. You want to comment on the fifth grade?
Fifth grade, as Principal Henley said, there are some things underway. I did, coordinate, connection email for the fifth grade committee chair, the school. Just out of curiosity, anyone on that email, have you heard anything? Nope. Thank you.
I just have a question about the, so, Mr. Harley, do we know like the dates of like the fifth grade move up, like, are these set dates?
Fifth grade move up, yes, that's on the calendar.
Or, yeah, I just wanna make, like, is that ever gonna
When you
change?
say move up, you mean graduation.
Perfect. We call it graduation, whatever.
I'm sorry.
Okay, whatever.
Yes, it's all, well, I mean, it's always, I can book the date right now, but it will be the, second to last day of school.
Okay, that's not gonna change.
It should not change.
Okay, and then what about the field? Because I have 3 personal days. I'm
Yeah,
taking
the field trip, I'm trying to nail down the transportation, but I
What is-
can
what
tell
is
you,
the field trip?
that's what I'm saying, the transportation, Washington.
Is it a day trip still?
Yes,
And are parents going or?
we would take chaperone.
Okay.
We are shooting for May 19th, but we're working through busing. But
Is that gonna be all outside again, or is it inside outside?
I'm hesitant to go too far because the planning is in process, but what I envision and where I think we're going to land will be a little bit more itemized. Now that we can go back into museums, we'll look at the museums on the mall and try to align with the curriculum and give an itinerary to parents with groups of students that hit.
Oh, they can hit on their own.
Correct.
Oh,
To
that's
a
nice.
degree, that's why I don't go too far because we're still planning, but the idea is to, which experiences we want our children to have in Washington.
Yeah,
Most likely, it'll be a longer trip than even last year, we'll probably find a place to eat dinner on the way
Oh, nice.
back. Yeah, but we're,
because I think like last year, yeah, you guys felt like
Yes.
it was good weather,
Correct.
but if you go down there and it's raining, the kids are gonna be like, why are we walking? So
Yes.
you might like wanna, but
yeah,
if you have little groups
This will
going
be
to the
self-
different,
yep, we'll
that's
be,
really cool.
we'll take enough chaperones, right? To put students in groups, and then we'll have an itinerary, but we may not send every group, and we'll have the teachers van out, and the staff van out.
That's
to the
really
different
nice.
museums. Not sure which ones, but we're trying to align, what's most developmentally appropriate, also with our curriculum. But it'll be almost like a lot of schools, we used to do it in my old school, like a self-guided tour like Philadelphia, do the same thing, except in DC.
Now, since you guys are a school, do you guys get access to the Capitol and different things to?
I'm not sure, it's been a while since I have been in that kind of play.
Okay.
So,
Very good.
actually, yes, if we did the state, I definitely know, I'm sorry, I'm thinking, but yes, correct, yeah. So we're still working out the itinerary, but all these options you want to talk.
And those are things like from school, kind of overview. Some other things that we put out, to the committee were a bowling night, which we did get a volunteer to do that. We'll have a quick side party.
Why I said yes. I wonder if there are people that talk, so I was like, I'll do it.
No vaccines on that. Yeah,
Creekside, the Creekside party is super easy.
Creekside, yeah, we really just need.
I already have the doc.
So-
I'll hook this up when.
Me
next
putting
year.
out
I'm doing the
that-
full party. I have everything done.
Communication was like my part in
Oh,
getting, so
totally.
now that.
I'm done. Yes, it all.
Yeah, but the ideas have been put out there, the details have been put out there, it has to be now.
I think he seems good. I think you guys, I mean, it was a great trip last year.
And it's not like it'll be upgraded.
Wait.
It doesn't say to be upgraded. I think it's a
Yeah.
good way to go.
Fortunately, when I was a fifth grade teacher, this was our trip. So I actually am bringing, but I've been down since some rules have changed, but, fortunately, our tech, if not director, but, our network director for our technology in the district, his, child went on a DC trip 2 weeks ago. And I said, send me the itinerary, let me see what's changed. So, and I said, where'd you guys go to eat afterwards? So I'm actually working through something.
See, don't-
He loved it. He said it was great.
That's awesome.
So the team and I will be working through it together.
Any other questions about any committees at large?
I have, the assemblies, so
Please, thanks. Yeah.
we're planning on 3 assemblies. weather permitting, Traditions of India is gonna be February 3rd. We're gonna have 2 sessions, a 9 o'clock session and a 10 o'clock session. We're having a magician come March 9th, 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. And then Science Explorers Crazy Chemistry, April 18th, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. We tried to have the assemblies, one of them to be in the afternoon for afternoon kindergarten. The hiccup we were having was because we had to split have 2 sessions. We can't have 1 session on any of these. One of them ran to 3:15 and got too close to dismissal. And there was a problem with the lunch, cleaning up the lunchroom, because all the assemblies have to be in the lunch cafeteria area. So unfortunately, the PM kindergarten will not have any assemblies, but at least we're having 3. I do have information on the assemblies. I can send to Jess to post, but I don't want to post them until they actually occur in case something happens that day. And then parents are like, why wasn't the assembly happening today? Because with weather and different things.
They post it out.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. So tradition, what was the middle one?
Magician.
Sorry, principal.
Mhm.
Is it appropriate to invite kindergarten, like
So-
kindergarten students?
In past years, we have not done that. However, in past years, we've been able to arrange it that we spread them out between AM and PM.
Right.
That fact is not lost on me, so I'm considering it. We haven't been in this position, and it just is because of there's nothing we can do about it.
Right.
I haven't engaged with teachers about it, but I am considering like which of the assemblies out of the 3, yes, I just can't do all 3. I can't do all 3, but
Yeah, no, but if
we
one,
do
there-
try to.
One was tradition of India. So we.
Yeah, now from a curricular standpoint, and Bertie neck, we don't, maybe be the one, from a fun perspective, it might be the other way.
Okay.
So,
And he has a live rabbit.
yeah. So it would be very similar to the other options though, which would be parents would have to provide transportation and they wouldn't be able to stay through. So I realize that's difficult, but
Yeah.
I will at least do my best to offer, something. We typically try to space it out.
So I'll probably be at them and I talked to Carolyn and I'll just take pictures and then I'll, give it to Jeff.
That's wonderful. Thank you very
When's
much.
the first one? I'm sorry, when's the first one?
Transition.
February 3rd.
Thank you.
Any other committee updates or questions?
Just a quick question, is there a conference
Can-
series again, or is that covered? Yes, okay. Stephanie McDonough is the chair of that one. If you want to be on that committee, on the volunteer sign-up units, which should be on the website itself, you're welcome to sign up there as well. Something we are looking into super quick for next year is in years past, we did have like one giant teacher committee sort of board, and then the different events that kind of stemmed from that. And this year, we took it to just breaking them apart. But next year, that's something that the board might look back into, is going into that big committee, so everyone can sign up beyond that committee and sort of think which things they would do. But yes, that is.
Real quick, Al,
Yes.
Caitlin says if there's been any thought about recording the assembly and sharing it with the PM.
The answer to that is yes.
He has thoughts about it.
It is part of our discussion. Yeah. I just don't want to say yes and we go a different direction, but yes, thank you. Yes. you are talking.
Erica, did I hear you?
Yeah. Okay, but I'm gonna stay dark because Lord knows what's behind me. Okay, so I have a PM kindergartner, and not only do I know that she would love to at least see one of the assemblies, but I've gotten to know the families and looking at her class picture and things like that. It's a lot of new families, a lot of families who we're not seeing come to PTO yet. Things like that. I think that any way that we can bring PM kindergarten families in the fold through offering the assemblies in some way, shape, or form, or communicating to them what's going on with the assemblies, makes a lot of sense. you know, I think when you have half-day kindergarten, you already have families who kind of have one foot in the door with the district, one foot out, until, you know, they're fully in for first grade. So I would definitely try to come up with any way possible to bring in the PM families, or the students for the assemblies as best as we can.
Yeah, I'm not committing because the short answer is yes, and there's a possibility that because of the circumstances, instead of doing the in-person, we might go all three. I'm gonna go that far tonight, but that's part of the discussion. Just not sure, because moving forward, once if we go that direction, if that's something that will become a operating practice. We're talking about it. We're just not at a point where I can say that will occur moving forward after this year, but these are the conversations we're having. It's a point well taken.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the point. I totally understand that you can't confirm that it can happen. I get the, you know, the reason I wanted to say it was just to push the importance of seeing if it can happen. You know, we're talking about a lot of new families who are coming in, and any way we can bring them in and capture their attention, that's a good thing for sure.
Yeah, and as I said, if we can't work out the logistics of one in person, we may try to do all three. So we're working out a combination.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So then we'll move into new business. We have three things for new business. One, to revisit the Martin Luther King. So anybody want to outbid Kelly and offer a different number of 200? If not, I think the motion would be to approve an expense of 200 to buy products for that. And I'm happy to be the person that goes buy it.
Approve.
Okay.
Motion.
Any discussion, so that would be an expense of $200, probably taken out of discretionary funding.
Actually, vote on it.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
We can go to 249 and we can make a executive board. Okay. A second, I think it heard. Does any discussion? All right, all those in favor? All right.
And thank you for your support and recommendations on that.
All right, those on Zoom, I hate putting you like on the spot, but any objections? I just want to make sure that like, I'm at least noting that. I'm gonna assume. Okay. The next thing on the agenda was STEM club. No, crochet club. And so I'm going to share the expense here. Hopefully folks can see this. All right, good. All right. So it's a little fuzzy in the room, but those in Zoom, you're getting a better look at it. This is Mrs. Benamy is hosting a crochet club, needs supplies for this. And so total of $298. I think it starts on the 19th. So we're hoping to get approval tonight to be able to purchase all this product and get it delivered so that they have it.
So Mrs. Benamy has already ordered most of this, so this will be reimbursement. But I would like to move to approve up to $350, so she has a buffer.
Okay. So the motion is to approve $350 expense for crochet club. All right. All those in favor? Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. Any opposed? That's in favor. All right. That's a good way. All right. So we'll approve that up to $350. All right. The last.
Do we know if she used the tax item in here?
I don't know that.
Because if she did not, that did not include tax and shipping, so. That's $18.
I'm just with your math.
Yeah, I think what we want to do is ask you to take you any.
We say 400?
The other thing too is if it does go over, we can kind of put with executive board as well, if they like it over into that, with I think the intent of the treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, we're gonna revote on that. To move it up to $400 for half of effort, okay, any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, so up to $400. $600. Here comes the big number.
How much did the turkey trot make?
We're like Oprah.
This is STEM Club.
This is STEM Club, so hopefully you can see,
It's 578 on top.
yeah, so it's a total of 578. Just want to give people a sense of what this is. And so this is Mr. Goldman hosts, I think, 2 rounds to STEM Club. Typically, 2 grades, and so that information will be coming out. So we need safety glasses, $578 total, all this adds up, this itemized stuff. It's STEM stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna read it all out loud.
Stuff is fun.
There's some bags, there's a hot glue
A
gun.
magnetic iron.
Tablet. What's his name?
After that.
What we'd like to do is. So maybe, set the motion to approve like 600? Yeah. All right. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, so we'll approve that. So the expenses for tonight were $600 for STEAM, $400 for Crochet Club, $200 for donation towards Martin Luther King, the Junior Day event, so $1,200. We'll provide that to Stephanie to update, but we're doing well financially, like we're doing quite well financially. Just for Turkey Trot, thank you to everybody involved on the Turkey Trot committee and for everyone who participated. Turkey Trot committee, and please support our sponsors so that they come back next year. Yeah. Accept the motion to adjourn. Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? All right, thank you all on Zoom for joining, we appreciate it.
Sorry about the technical difficulties on Zoom. Thank you for hanging in there.
Thank you, guys. Good night.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. Sorry, volunteer. I want volunteers, email my team. They volunteer.
Oh,
For MLK.
for what part?
Yes, the,
Speech?
yes.
I still do it unless